Alrighty, folks. I'm back. Gonna bring up the lights. Gonna get also going live on TikTok. Want everybody comfortable for this. Okay. Here we go. We find ourselves in Principle 32. Transform your inner critic into an inner coach. A man is literally what he thinks. James Allen, author of As a Man Thinketh. Research indicates that, on average, people talk to themselves about 50,000 times a day. This includes you. Unfortunately, most of that self-talk is about yourself. According to the psychological researchers, it is 80% negative things, such as, I shouldn't have said that. They don't like me. I'm never going to be able to pull this off. I don't like the way my hair looks today. The other team is going to kill us. Can't dance. I'm not a speaker. Never lose this weight. I never seem to get organized. I'm always late. Argue for your limitations. Sure enough, they're yours. Richard Bach, author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. We also know from this research that these thoughts have a powerful effect on us. They affect our attitude, our motivation to act, physiology, even our biochemistry. Our negative thoughts actually control our behavior. Make us stutter, spill things, forget our lines, break out in a sweat, breathe shallowly, feel anxious or scared, and taken to the extreme, they can even paralyze or kill us. Read himself to death. Many years ago, Reader's Digest featured the true story of Nick Sitzman, strong, healthy, and ambitious young railroad yardman. He had a reputation as a diligent worker and had a loving wife, 2 children, and many friends. One midsummer day, the train crews were informed that they could quit an hour early in honor of the foreman's birthday. While performing one last check on some of the railroad cars, Nick was accidentally locked in a refrigerator boxcar. When he realized that the rest of the workmen had left the site, Nick began to panic. He banged and shouted until his fists were bloody and his voice was hoarse, but no one heard him. With his knowledge of the numbers and the facts, he predicted the temperature to be 0 degrees. Nick's thought was, if I can't get out, I'll freeze to death in here. Wanting to let his wife and family know exactly what had happened to him, Nick found a knife and began to etch words into the wooden floor. He wrote, "It's so cold. Body is getting numb. I could just go to sleep. These may be my last words." Next morning, the crew slid open the heavy doors of the boxcar and found Nick dead. An autopsy revealed that every physical sign of his body indicated that he had frozen to death. Yet the refrigeration unit of the car was inoperative, and the temperature inside indicated 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Nick had killed himself by the power of his own thoughts. From the Speaker's Sourcebook by Glenn Van Eckeren. You too, if you're not careful, can kill yourself with your limiting thoughts. Not all at once like Nick Sitzman, but little by little, day after day, until you've slowly deadened your natural ability to achieve your dreams. Your negative thoughts affect your body. You also know from polygraph lie detector tests that your body reacts to your thoughts, changing your temperature, rate, blood pressure, breathing rate, muscle tension, how much your hands sweat. When you're hooked up to the lie detector and are asked a question such as, "Did you take the money?" your hands will get colder, your heart will beat faster, your blood pressure will go up, and breathing will get faster. Your muscles will get tighter, and your hands will sweat if you did take the money, and you lie about it. These kinds of physiological changes occur not only when you're lying, but also in reaction to every thought that you think. Every cell in your body is affected by every thought you have. Negative thoughts affect your body negatively, weakening you, making you sweat, and making you uptight. Positive thoughts affect your body in a positive way, making you more relaxed, centered, and alert. Positive thoughts cause the secretion of endorphins in the brain and reduce pain and increase pleasure. Stomp those ants. Psychiatrist Daniel G. Amen has named the limiting thoughts we hear in our head ants, automatic negative thoughts. Just like real ants at a picnic, your ants can ruin your experience of life. Dr. Amen recommends that you learn to stomp the ants. Change Your Brain, Change Your Life by Daniel G. Amen, MD. For an illuminating book into how to use brain-compatible strategies to overcome anxiety, depression, obsessiveness, anger, and impulsiveness, all of which can severely block creating the life you want. The next few pages on stomping the ants draw heavily on Dr. Amen's insights. Learn more about Doug's fascinating work. Successprinciples.com. I skipped ahead a little bit, but that's fine. First, you have to become aware of them. Next, you have to shake them off and stomp them by challenging them. Finally, you have to replace them with more positive and affirming thoughts. Don't believe everything you hear, even in your own mind. That was Daniel G. Amen, MD, clinical neuroscientist, psychiatrist, and specialist in attention deficit disorders. The key to dealing with any kind of negative thinking is to realize that you are ultimately in charge of whether to listen to or agree with any thought. Just because you think it or hear it doesn't mean it's true. You want to constantly ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Is it getting me closer to where I want to go or taking me further away? Is it motivating me to action or is it blocking me with fear and self-doubt? You have to learn to challenge and talk back to the thoughts that are not serving you in creating greater success and happiness. Friend Doug Bench, the author of the Mastery of Advanced Achievement Home Study course, recommends writing down every negative thought you think or say out loud. Every negative thought you hear anyone else say. For 3 whole days. Make sure that 2 of the days are work days and that 1 is a weekend day. Ask your spouse or partner, children, roommates, and fellow employees to catch you and impose a dollar fine every time they hear you uttering a negative thought. In a recent workshop I conducted, participants had to put $2 in a bowl every time they said something that was blaming, justifying, or self-negating. It was amazing to see how fast the bowl filled up. However, as the 4 days went on, there were fewer and fewer automatic negative comments as everyone became more aware. Different types of negative thoughts. It's helpful to understand some of the different kinds of negative thoughts that might attack you. When you recognize these kinds of thoughts, realize they are irrational thoughts that need to be challenged and replaced. Here are some of the most common types of negative thoughts and how to eliminate them. Always or never thinking. In reality, very few things are always or never. If you think something is always going to happen to you or you will never get what you want, you are doomed from the outset. When you use all or nothing words such as always, never, everyone, no one, every time, and everything, we're usually wrong. Here are some examples of always or never thinking. I'll never get a raise. I never get a break. Everyone takes advantage of me. No one ever cuts me any slack. My employees never listen to me. Every time I take a risk, I get slammed. Never get any time for myself. They're always making fun of me. Nobody cares if I live or die. Hello, Liam. You find yourself thinking always or never thoughts, replace them with what is really true. For example, you can replace you always take advantage of me with I get angry when you take advantage of me, but I know that you've treated me fairly in the past and that you will again. Focusing on the negative. Yes, Liam, I do. Some people focus only on only on the bad and never on the good in a situation. When I was conducting trainings for high school teachers, I noticed that most of the teachers I met had a pattern of focusing on the negative. If they taught a lesson and 30 kids got it but 4 didn't, they would focus on the 4 who didn't get it and would feel bad, rather than focus on the 26 who did get it and feel good. Learn to focus and look for the positive. Not only will it help you feel better, but it will also be a critical component of your creating the success that you want. Recently, a friend of mine told me he had seen an interview with a multimillionaire on television who described the turning point in his career as the morning he asked all of his staff to talk about one good thing that had occurred during the past week. At first, all that came up were more complaints, problems, and difficulties. Finally, one employee commented that the UPS driver who delivered packages to the office had applied to college and was going back to school to get his degree, and how inspired he was by the man's commitment to further his education and pursue his dream in life. Slowly, one employee and then another came up with something else that was positive to share. Soon, this became a part of every meeting. Eventually, they had to end the meetings before every positive thing could be recounted. The entire attitude of the company changed from focusing on the negative to focusing on the good, and the business just took off and grew exponentially from that moment on. Learn to play the appreciation game by looking for things to appreciate in every situation. A powerful exercise for building your appreciation muscle is to take 7 minutes every morning to write down all the things you appreciate in your life. I recommend this as a daily ritual for the rest of your life. When you actively seek the positive, you become more appreciative and optimistic, which is a requirement for attracting more good and creating the life of your dreams. Look for the good. My wife was recently in an automobile accident. She drove through an intersection where the traffic light was inoperative because of a power outage and hit another car turning across her lane. She could have succumbed to a multitude of automatic negative thoughts. What's wrong with me? Should have been paying better attention. Shouldn't have been out driving when the power was out. Instead, she focused on the positive. So lucky to be alive and relatively unhurt. The other driver is alive and well. Thank God I was in such a safe car. I'm so glad the police came as fast as they did. Amazing how many people were there to help. This was a real wake-up call. Yes, as far as I know, Liam. Catastrophic predicting. In catastrophic predicting, you create the worst possible scenario in your mind and then act as if it were a certainty. This can include predicting that your sales prospect won't be interested in your product. Person you are attracted to will reject your request to go out on a date. Your boss won't give you a raise, or the plane you're flying on will crash. Place she'll probably laugh at me if I ask her out, with I don't know what she'll do. You might say yes. Mind reading. You're mind reading when you believe you know that another person is thinking even though he or she hasn't told you. You know you're mind reading when you are thinking thoughts such as, he's mad at me, he doesn't like me, he's going to say no, he's going to fire me. Replace mind reading with the truth. I don't know what he's thinking unless I ask him. Maybe he's just having a bad day. Remember, unless you're a psychic, you can't read anyone else's mind. You don't ever know what they're really thinking unless they tell you or unless you ask them. Check out your assumptions by asking, imagining you might be mad at me. Are you? Remember the phrase, when in doubt, check it out. So remind yourself to ask rather than assume you know. Guilt tripping. Guilt happens when you think words such as should, must, ought to, or have to. Here are some examples. I ought to spend more time studying for my bar exam. I should spend more time at home with my kids. I have to exercise more. As soon as you feel like you should do something, you create an internal resistance to doing it. I will not should on myself today. Seen on a poster. It'll be more effective if you replace guilt tripping with phrases such as I want to, it supports my goals to, it would be smart to, it's in my best interest to. Guilt is never productive. Stand in the way of achieving your goals. Get rid of this emotional barrier to success. Labeling. Labeling is attaching a negative label to yourself or someone else. They form a shorthand that stops you from clearly making the finer distinctions that would help you become more effective. Some examples of negative labels are jerk, idiot, arrogant, and irresponsible. When you use a label like this, you are lumping yourself or someone else into a category of all the jerks or idiots you've ever known, and that makes it more difficult to deal with that person or situation as the unique person or experience they are. Challenge the thought, I am stupid with what I did just now was less than brilliant, but I'm still a smart person. All meaning is self-created. That was Virginia Satir, noted psychotherapist known for her contributions in the fields of family therapy and self-esteem. Personalizing. Personalize when you invest in a neutral event with personal meaning. Kevin hasn't called me back yet. He must be mad at me. Or we lost the Vanderbilt account. Must be my fault. I should have spent more time on the proposal. The truth is that there are many other possible explanations for other people's actions besides the negative reasons your automatic negative thoughts come up with. For example, Kevin might not have called you back because he's sick, out of town, or overwhelmed with his own priorities. You never really know why other people do what they do. Talk to yourself like a winner. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You'll be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. James Allen, author of As a Man Thinketh. What if you could learn to always talk to yourself like a winner instead of a loser? What if you could transform your negative self-talk into positive self-talk? What if you could silence your thoughts of lack and limitation and replace them with thoughts of unlimited possibility? You could replace any victim language in your thoughts with the language of empowerment. And what if you could transform your inner critic? Judges. Who judges your every move. Into a supportive inner coach who can encourage you and give you confidence as you face new situations and risks. Well, all of that is possible with little awareness, focus, and intention. Transforming your inner critic into your inner coach. One of the most powerful exercises for retraining your inner critic is to teach it to tell you the total truth. Principle 29, complete the past to embrace the future. Just like your parents discipline you for your own good, your inner critic really has your best interests in mind when it's criticizing you. Once you get the benefit, be better behavior. The problem is that it tells you only part of the truth. When you were a little kid, your parents may have yelled at you and sent you to your room after you did something stupid like run out in front of a car. Their real communication was, I love you. I don't want you to get hit by a car. I want you to stay around so that you can grow up into a happy and healthy adult. They delivered only half of the message. What's wrong with you? Were you born without a brain? You know better than to run out into the street when there are cars coming. Grounded for the next hour. Go to your room and think about what you just did. In their fear of losing you, they expressed only their anger. But underneath the anger, 3 more layers of message that never got delivered. Fear, specific requests, and love. The complete message would look like this. Anger. I'm mad at you for running out into the street without looking to see if any cars were coming. Fear. I'm afraid that you'll get badly hurt or killed. Requests. I want you to pay more attention when you're playing near the street. Stop and look both ways before you walk or run into the street. Love. I love you so much. I don't know what I would do without you. You're so precious to me. I want you to be safe and healthy. You deserve to have lots of fun and to stay safe so that you can continue to enjoy life to its fullest. You understand? What a different message. You need to train your inner critic to talk to you the same way. You practice this on paper or as a verbal exercise in which you talk to yourself out loud. I usually imagine talking to a clone of myself sitting in an empty chair opposite me. Make a list of all the things you say when you're judging yourself. Include all the things you tell yourself you should do, but you don't. A typical list might look like this. You don't exercise enough. You're gaining too much weight. You're a fat slob. Real couch potato. You drink too much alcohol and eat too many sweets. You need to cut down on the carbs. You need to watch less television and go to bed earlier. Got up earlier, you'd have more time to exercise. You're lazy. Why don't you finish the things that you start? If you've completed your list, practice communicating the same information using the 4-step process outlined above. 1, anger. 2, fear. 3, requests. And 4, love. Spend a minimum of 1 minute on each step. Here you're very specific in the request stage. State exactly what you want yourself to do. I want you to eat better is too vague. Be more specific, such as, I want you to eat at least 4 servings of vegetables every day. I want you to stop eating French fries, sugar, and desserts. I want you to eat eggs and some kind of fruit for breakfast every day. I want you to eat whole grains like whole wheat and brown rice rather than white flour. The more specific you are, more value you will receive from the exercise. If you do it out loud, which I recommend, do it with as much emotion and passion as possible. Here's an example of what it might sound like using the list of judgments above. Anger. I'm angry at you for not taking better care of your body. You're such a lazy slob. You drink too much and you eat too much. You don't have any self-discipline. All you do is sit around and watch TV. Your clothes don't fit and you don't look good. Fear. If you don't change, I'm afraid you're going to keep gaining weight until you're facing a real health risk. I'm afraid your cholesterol is going to go so high you might have a heart attack. I'm afraid that you could become diabetic. I'm afraid that you're never going to change and then you're going to die young and never fulfill your dreams. I'm afraid that you don't start eating better and taking care of yourself, no one is going to be attracted to you. You might end up living alone for the rest of your life. Plus, I want you to join a health club and go at least 3 days a week. I want you to go for a 20-minute walk the other 4 days. I want you to cut out 1 hour of television a day and devote that to exercise. I want you to stop eating fried foods and start eating more fresh fruits and vegetables. I want you to stop drinking sodas and drinking more water. Start drinking more water. I want you to limit drinking alcohol to Friday and Saturday night. I love you. Love. I want you to be around for a long time. I want you to have a wonderful relationship. You deserve to look good in your clothes and to feel good about yourself. You deserve to have all of your dreams come true. I want you to feel alive and energetic rather than tired and lethargic all the time. You deserve to live life fully and enjoy every moment of it. You deserve to be totally happy. Whenever you hear a part of you judging yourself, simply reply, "Thank you for caring. What is your fear? What specifically do you want me to do? How will this serve me? Thank you." First time I experienced this inner critic to inner coach process, it changed my life. After quitting my job at another training company, I've been working as a consultant and a professional speaker. What I really wanted to do was start my own training company, train other trainers, open offices in other cities, make a huge difference in the world. But it seemed like an overwhelming commitment. I was afraid of failure. What's worse, I had been regularly beating myself up for not having the courage to take the leap. After completing the turning your inner critic into your inner coach exercise, something shifted. I went beyond beating myself up to realizing how much I was missing out on by not taking the leap. I told myself clearly what I needed to do, and the following day, I outlined a business plan for the new. Asked my mother-in-law for a $10,000 loan, asked a friend to be my business partner, scheduled a meeting to draw up the incorporation papers, and began designing the letterhead. Less than 3 months later, I conducted my first weekend training in St. Louis for over 200 people. Less than a year later, I had offices in Los Angeles, St. Louis, Philadelphia, San Diego, and San Francisco. Since then, over 50,000 people have participated in my weekend and week-long training programs. By turning my inner critic into an inner coach, I was able to stop feeling like a failure and start engaging in the activities that made my dream a reality. I was able to move from someone who was using my energy against myself to someone who's using my energy to create what I wanted. Do not let the seeming simplicity of this technique fool you. It is very powerful. But like everything else in this book, to obtain its value, you must use it. No one else can do it for you. Take 20 minutes now to do the turn your inner critic into your inner coach exercise. Get all of you on your own side, working together for the greater good of your dreams and aspirations. How to silence your performance critic. Have you ever taught a class, given a speech, made a sales presentation, competed in an athletic event, acted in a play, given a concert, or performed any kind of job, and then found yourself on the way home listening to that voice in your head telling you how you messed up, what you should have done differently, how you could have and should have done it better? I'm sure you have. If you listen to that voice for very long, it can undermine your self-confidence, lower your self-esteem, and even demoralize and eventually paralyze you. Here's another simple but powerful method for redirecting your inner voice from one of judgment and criticism to one of correction and support. Remembering again that the deepest underlying motivation of your inner critic is to help you be better at what you do. Tell your inner critic to stop criticizing and berating you, or you will stop listening to it. Tell that inner voice you're not willing to listen to any more character assassinations, name calling, or browbeating. Only specific steps you can take to do it better the next time. Hello, Ari. This eliminates put downs and focuses the conversation on improvement opportunities for the next occasion. Now the inner critic becomes an inner coach that is simply pointing out ways to improve future results. The past is over and there's nothing you can do to change it. You can only learn from it and improve your performance the next time. Only learn from it and improve your performance. Here's an example of what this might sound like taken from my own life. I see indicates that the inner critic, inner coach is talking. I see. I can't believe it. What were you thinking? You tried to put way too much information in that seminar. We're talking way too fast and you're rushed at the end. There's no way people could have assimilated all that information. After all these years as a seminar leader, you'd think you'd know better than that. Me. Hold on a minute. I'm not going to listen to your criticizing me. I just worked hard all day to give people the best experience that I knew how to create at the time. Now that I've done it, I'm sure there are ways to improve it next time. If you have specific things you want me to do next time, then tell me. That is all I'm interested in hearing about. I'm not interested in your judgments, just your ideas for how to make it better next time. I see. All right. Next time, just pick 3 or 4 major points to focus on and really drive those points home with examples, humor, and more interpersonal exercises so that people really integrate the material. You can't teach people everything you know in one day. Me. You're right. Anything else? I see. Yes. Make sure to include more interactive learning games in the afternoon when the energy is lower. That'll make everyone stay alert and awake. Me. Okay. Anything else? I see. Yes. I think it would work better to take a 10-minute break every hour rather than a 20-minute break every 2 hours. It'll help keep the energy higher and allow more time for people to integrate what they are learning. Me. Good idea. Anything else? I see. Yes. Make sure to integrate some physical activity throughout the day to keep the kinesthetic learners more engaged. Me. Anything else? I see. Yes. Sure you give people 2 copies of the Achievers focusing sheet next time. When to write on in the seminar and when to use as a photocopying master after they leave the seminar. Otherwise, they can't really use it. You could also put a copy on your website that they could download for duplication. Good idea. Me. Anything else? I see. No, I think that's it. Me. Okay, I've written all that down. I would definitely incorporate these things into my next seminar. Thank you. I see. You're welcome. As you can see from the example, there are a lot of things that your inner coach observes about how to improve your performance in future situations. The problem up until now is that it has been presenting the information as a judgment. Once you switch the conversation to a non-emotional discussion of improvement opportunities, the experience changes from a negative to a positive one. Here's the value tip. Because research on memory tells us that a new idea lasts for only about 40 seconds in a short-term memory, then it's gone, it is important to write down these ideas from your inner coach and put them in a file that you will review before your next performance. Otherwise, you may lose the benefit of the valuable feedback. Use EFT tapping to transform your inner critic. Another powerful way to transform your inner critic into an inner coach is use the tapping technique outlined in my book, Tapping in Ultimate Success. This specific tapping protocol is designed to turn your inner critic into a supportive ally by redefining its role. See page 121 to 126 of Tapping in Ultimate Success, and overcome any obstacle and skyrocket your results. Okay, and that will do it for 32. Transform your inner critic into an inner coach. The next time will be Principle 33, transcend your limiting beliefs. Okay. That should do it. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok.